What is going on, you guys? AK40 Kevin here in the gamer heaven. So the co-founder of CD Projekt Red is releasing a statement. I haven't watched it yet, but I heard it's good stuff. It's somewhat of an apology for some of the quality control issues and the condition of the game, particularly on console, but the PC versions as well. And basically the title of the video is Our Commitment to Quality, and I want to commentate over this bad boy. I want to hear this gentleman's thoughts, and I want to give you guys mine simultaneously. I guess that's what commentary is. All right, let's get this thing. All right, let's play this thing, guys. I want to hear this gentleman's statement.
My name is Marcin Iwiński, and I'm the co-founder of CDPR. When I started CDPR
Marcin
25 years
Iwiński.
ago, one of its founding principles was honest and direct communication with gamers. When CDPR Red, the game development part of CDPR, was born, it added something important to that principle, the ambition to make the best games in the world. It became our mission and
They're
something
pretty good.
that
I don't know about
guided
best
us
in the world.
up until now. Based on that legacy of genuine and honest communication, you've trusted us and pre-ordered our game. And despite good reviews on PC, the console version of Cyberpunk 2077 did not meet the quality standard we wanted it to meet.
It's blown out.
I and the entire leadership team are deeply sorry for this, and this video is me publicly owning up to that.
What a stallion.
Please don't fault any of our teams for what happened.
I don't hold a grudge.
They all are incredibly talented and hardworking.
We know that from The Witcher.
Myself and the board are the final decision makers, and it was our call to release the game.
They also released the game because they were getting pressured because they had so many delays and people were writing them letters like, release this fucking game or I'm going to kill myself. There was all these Witcher fans and CD Projekt Red fans that were, you know, granted the game was in production for 7.5 years and had been delayed like 5 or 6 times, but people were really antsy to get this thing. And if they just would have taken their foot off the long skinny pedal and maybe just coasted for a little bit and let these people, the devs, actually do their job and massage out the bugs and glitches, this game could have been released, you know, early to mid 21, and it probably would have been a much more polished product and actually playable on the console version.
Although, believe me, we never ever intended for anything like this to happen. I assure you that we'll do our best to regain your trust. Now I'd like to tell you how the situation looked like from the inside.
Oh, I'd love to get a deep look at the insides.
Cyberpunk 2077 is huge in scope. And I'm not only talking about quests or things you see at first glance.
It's a big game.
I'm talking about a multitude of custom objects, interacting systems, and mechanics. In the game, everything is not stretched out over flat terrain where we can make things less taxing hardware-wise.
See, and hardware taxation, you know, stressing out your resources, that's why the PC versions run better. Even the new gen consoles aren't really up there with a high-end PC when it comes to sheer processing power and whatnot. I'm not talking about like a groundbreaking PC, but a mid to high-end PC. And it just seems like the PC architecture was a lot better for this game. And you can't really expect this game to run good on 7-year-old hardware. So I'm talking about the PS4 Slim and the Xbox One S. You know, granted, the Xbox One X and PS4 Pro are a little bit better, and I think once they release these major patches, January, February, they will be playable, and they will be good and enjoyable. And I definitely think when there is a dedicated, actual iteration of the game for PS5 and Xbox Series S and X, that will be an absolutely amazing game. Obviously, it won't be at like 120 frames per second, or anything like that, but it'll probably be a capped 60, and it will probably be much more polished and fluid than what it is now.
But condensed in one big city and in a relatively loading-free environment. On its own, this is a challenge, but we made it even more difficult for ourselves by wanting to make the game look epic on PCs and then adjusting it to consoles.
That's another thing. They're hosting this on 7 platforms technically, if you look at it like that. So they're trying to do the, you know, Xbox One S, X, the original Xbox, the big brick one, the PlayStation 4, PS4 Slim, PS4 Pro, PS5, Xbox Series S and X, and PC. And all, you know, this is why a lot of games get held back at the development phase due to older hardware. When you're trying to release things like games used to be released, you know, for PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, as well as the One and the PS4, they didn't look as good as the games that are proprietary for the new consoles. So again, they need to release 2 versions, a PS5 and a Series S and X version, that are proprietary standalone titles, that everything is optimized for that hardware and that hardware alone. And, you know, I'm sorry to say it, but the people that are on PS4 and Xbox One, this game, it's a little too ambitious to play on 7-year-old hardware. It really is. I mean, there's not a whole lot of optimization that can be done for such a large game world. You know, Night City has a lot of dense population of NPCs, and they have to cut the crowd density down to about 1/4 to make the game even render properly.
Especially old gens. That was our core assumption. And things did not look super difficult at first. We knew the hardware gap, yes, but ultimately, I think that time has proven that we've underestimated the task. To give a concrete example, and the main culprit, we had to constantly improve our in-game streaming system for all gen consoles. Streaming is responsible for feeding the engine with what you see on screen, as well as the game mechanics. And since the city is so packed and the disk bandwidth of all gens is what it is,
I do like this gentleman's statement so far, even though he has a very thick accent. I can understand what he's saying, and I like how well he's articulating the actual specific issues. He's not just giving a general overview like, yeah, the game's a big-ass file. Runs like shit on your console. Get fucked, loser. Like, he's actually going in depth with like, okay, you know, the world is extremely dense when we're trying to render all these files and stuff. He's giving you a technical breakdown, but it's also not a bunch of developer jargon. It's stuff that the average consumer can understand and process, but it's still also in depth. I think this gentleman's statement thus far is very, very good, and it seems genuine too. He seems genuinely upset about the condition of their game. So
it constantly challenged us. Every change and improvement needed to be tested, and as it turned out, our testing did not show a big part of the issues you experience while playing the game. As we got closer to the final release, we saw significant improvements each and every day, and we really believed we would deliver in the final Day Zero update. Now let's talk about the review process.
Happen.
We started sending our PC review keys in the first days of December. On launch day, December 10th, we hit the ground running with a really good start on PC. While not perfect, it's a version of Cyberpunk we are very proud of.
And you should be proud of it. I streamed several hours of it, probably 12 to 16 hours on Twitch and Facebook Gaming, and I ran into a couple cosmetic bugs and glitches, NPCs walking into walls, textures popping in, stuff like that, but nothing game-breaking. There was only one I had to restart from a checkpoint that was like 3 minutes prior. It was nothing that made the game unplayable, like the console versions would just crash and stuff like that. And, you know, honestly, I do believe that eventually the newer gen consoles and even the One X and PS4 Pro will be damn fine titles.
At the same time, we're fighting for quality on all gen consoles till the very last moment. And every extra day of us working on the Day Zero update brought visible improvement. This is why we started sending console review keys on the 8th of December, which was later than we originally planned.
So he's addressing the kind of scandal or conspiracy that they knew the game was busted on console, and they were specifically only allowing reviewers to review the PC version. That's the only review keys they were giving out. And then literally months later, they would let people put out to the public the condition of it in the console versions, which was, you know, blatantly not good. And, you know, CD Projekt Red knew it wasn't good on console, and they didn't want people to know that and then not buy their game. So they just had reviewers look at the PC copy and make them sign NDAs or non-disclosure agreements, to where they would only talk about specific parts of the game. They wouldn't mention all the bugs and glitches, which is shady. And, you know, again, I think he's addressing some of this.
This all happened while working from home with all the challenges resulting from the COVID-related restrictions. A lot of the dynamics we normally take for granted got lost over video calls or email, and we took that hit too.
Also, you guys do have to understand, as the average consumer and gamer, the developing process is incredibly harsh right now due to the COVID restrictions. A lot of these developers, graphic designers, audio engineers are working remotely from home, and you do not have the same team dynamic when you're in a building, in a bullpen, in cubicles where you can communicate with the people around you and get a good workflow going. Not to mention, you probably have less powerful equipment in your home than the actual development studio.
Now I'd like to tell you about our plans for the future and present a path for Cyberpunk 2077 on consoles and PC. We have already released 3 hotfixes improving the game, but that's just the beginning. Our ultimate goal is to fix the bugs and crashes gamers are experiencing across platforms.
Get it, brother.
Please expect bigger and smaller patches on a regular basis. The first update will be dropping within 10 days.
Feed it to us.
It will be followed by another, more significant one in the following weeks.
Give it to me.
We will, of course, continue to work on the game in future updates and improvements beyond that.
Yes.
Our big plans for supporting Cyberpunk in the long term did not change.
Keep talking.
As for the free DLCs, our initial plan was to deliver them just after the release, much like we did with The Witcher 3. We decided to focus on the most important fixes and updates first.
Free DLCs, I like that. What are we talking about? Some skins, maybe some extra missions? I like that. Couple new vehicles.
And we'll be releasing the DLCs afterwards. Expect more information in the upcoming months. For those of you playing on next-gen consoles
So I do like this timeline too. This is incredibly informative. So it dropped here. You got your hot fixes, which are actually going to make it playable on console and make it smoother on PC. And then, over here in 21, you're going to get patch 1.1. That is in January. You're going to get 1.2. That is in mid to late February. And then throughout the year, ramping up to 22, we're going to get the free DLCs, which like I mentioned, skins, guns, weapons, maybe new missions, etc. And then a free new gen console update. So like I had mentioned earlier, the PS5 and Xbox Series S and X, it's going to be a optimized version that will take full utilization of the hardware to get to wring the most out of those consoles, because they are very powerful, but they are new consoles, new architectures, brand new APUs in there that need to be optimized, and developers don't really know how to work with these consoles yet because they're brand new.
In back compatibility, you can still expect the free next-gen update for Xbox Series consoles and PlayStation 5 arriving in 2021. We are aiming at the second half of the year. I'd like to end this video by assuring you that we treat this entire situation very seriously and are working hard to make it right. The guiding principles of our company are still core to what we do. We still want to make amazing games and have an open communication with you, our players.
We still love you, CD Projekt Red. Nobody hates you.
Is to work hard on making sure you enjoy Cyberpunk 2077 regardless of platform.
Yes,
Beyond
sir.
Cyberpunk, we have many
Except for Nintendo Switch. You can't run that thing. You'd be better off running on a baked potato.
plans for the future, which we'll share more about when we're ready. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video.
Okay, so it's available in other languages as well, which is good because this is a worldwide game. It's a AAA title and whatnot. So again, I will say that I think his statement was incredibly genuine. It didn't seem forced. It didn't seem heavily scripted. Obviously, he probably had some keynotes in front of him and whatnot. You're going to do that anytime you're publicly speaking. But it definitely seemed genuine. It seemed heartfelt. It seems honest. And he had an actual plan. He mentioned the individual direct problems very specifically, with rendering things in. The game world's huge. It's got a lot of content packed into it. The older consoles struggle their titties off to manage it. And then he went with the game plan. We have patch this, and this happening. Then we had the DLC. Then we had the new gen consoles coming out. This is a good public statement. So game companies that have fucked up, which CD Projekt Red, don't sugarcoat it, did F up. This is how you unfuck the situation. You know what I mean? Like, he gave a good, understandable public announcement, and this isn't just some, low-level programmer or anything. This is like the co-founder slash right-hand man over there. So, I mean, I thought it was a pretty good statement, and I do believe that they will deliver on this. They have a good plan in place, and I do feel like they are going to follow through on it. Again, it's playable on PC right now. It's not a broken mess on PC whatsoever. It's definitely playable. There are some cosmetic issues, but nothing game-breaking. Console, not so much. It's absolutely... It's shredded lettuce, boys. It's cabbage. It's bad. But I do think they have a plan, and moving forward, we're going to see how they're going to handle it, guys. That is going to do it. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.